You guys thought we were going to be late, didn't you? Welcome back to the channel. This is John and my number one employee, my employee of the month, Jenna. Gotta say, you know what? I keep reading these comments and they're somewhat disappointing. It tells me that some people are either new or they just haven't paid attention. She's my wife. I love her to death. We treat each other the way on screen, the way we treat each other throughout the day. This is how we are happy. If I acted different, she would actually wonder what the heck's going on with me. So just understand, it may seem different to you. Maybe it speaks more about what you got going on than what we got going on, but this is who we are. And I just wanted to put that out there. Now, that said, eBay is going to make a change. Now, we talk about a lot of the changes on this program, and this is no different. So let's talk about it. As you can see here, well, maybe not. If I get down here, eBay is simplifying order cancellations. And here it says, we're launching a change that will simplify the order cancellation process for both buyers and sellers. Buyers now have the option to request an order canceling using the cancel order button before the item is marked as shipped. Our goal is to create a more user-friendly and consistent experience to build trust between buyers and sellers and encourage repeat purchases. Now, I don't know how that encourages repeat purchases, but okay. In prior tests, these changes result in minimal increase in cancellation requests, maintaining an overall average cancellation rate of 1%, with an increase from 0.9 out of 100 transactions to 1.1 out of 100 transactions, and a notable 25% improvement in buyer satisfaction, which led to a higher likelihood of repeat purchases. So we're talking about maybe an increase in cancellations. They're showing us how small of an increase in cancellations this will cause, but the trade-off is a higher buyer satisfaction. Okay, well, I don't know how many times people may have complained. Maybe they're upset after the 1 hour, they can't get it canceled. I don't know, but here's the explanation of how it works. When a buyer requests a cancellation, you'll receive a notice in your eBay messages. You'll also be able to see your orders with a cancel request. So it'll show up as one of those to-do things in your overview. You'll have 3 days to accept or decline. 3 days to accept or decline the request. So they can actually go in and request to cancel anywhere between the time they pay to the time you ship it, and even beyond that, up to 3 days. And it's no longer just maximum of 1 hour now. You have the choice to accept or decline the cancellation. When feasible, it's recommended to accept the request, especially if this is sent within minutes or a few hours of when the order is placed. Doing so is shown to discourage return requests or item not received cases and encourages the buyer to return to eBay for their next purchase. I guess the thought is, if you deny a buyer cancellation and you ship it anyway, you're going to get a higher rate of item not received or return requests. That's debatable. I know there's many people who have denied the cancellation request and have shipped it anyway. That's a sale's a sale. Hey, you agreed, whatever. And we can debate on that part of it, how we want to do our business and what's the right thing to do. But what I'm saying is there's people that will swear to the fact that buyers do not return these things once you ship it. So I don't know. Maybe you guys could put down below your thoughts on that. Now, when will the new cancellation process update take effect? It'll take effect on the 28th. So we're doing this less than 2 weeks, not this Monday, but it looks like the following Monday. And that's the 20th of August. Sellers may observe some requests coming through direct messages as buyers adapt to these changes. So I guess they're going to be telling buyers about it. Buyers are going to be wanting to do it right away, and it's not going to actually be in effect until Monday the 28th. I think that's the 28th, right? Monday the 20. Wednesday the 28th. So my bad on that. Protections. What if a buyer leaves negative feedback for refusing their cancellation request? Now here's where I hope eBay follows through. eBay will protect you by removing negative or neutral feedback on these orders. Let's see. I'm not holding my breath at all. I'm thinking that in a couple weeks, we're going to have a bunch of upset people saying that eBay promised me right here. eBay, if you're watching, you're promising here. It doesn't say on a case-by-case basis. It says eBay will, not may, protect you by removing negative or neutral feedback in these orders. So we're expecting you to follow through with that. What protections are in place if I've already shipped the item? Once you've shipped the item, be sure to promptly update the tracking information and order status to shipped on eBay. That's the same process as we deal with now. When an order is marked as shipped, buyers will no longer be able to access the cancel order request flow. So that shuts them down. If a buyer has requested a cancellation before you're able to update the shipment status and you have already shipped it, let's say you maybe ran the labels offline on FedEx.com, maybe you have a different process than what we do. Maybe you drop them off and then come back and upload all the tracking numbers, and there's a time period there where they wanted to cancel. Well, you could still decline, but you'll have to upload that information. What if a buyer wins an auction but doesn't pay and asks for cancellation? You'll have 3 days to accept or decline the cancellation request on an unpaid item. Cancellation requests for unpaid items will automatically be approved after 3 days if there's no response from you. So on an unpaid auction, no payment, 3 days later, you don't have to do anything. They're going to just go in and automatically approve the cancellation if you don't decline it. eBay monitors and takes action against buyers who habitually fail to pay. Well, they don't give us any stats on that. We proactively restrict such buyers from bidding. Don't ship items until payment is confirmed. No, that's an obvious one. And ensure all communication is kept on eBay so we can assist if needed. Also, if you happen to deal with customized items, personalized, let's say you weave baskets and put a monogram or whatever on the basket based on whatever they ask you to do, and you're working on that, they pay for it, you get it all done, and they want to cancel. Well, as a seller of customized items on eBay, if it's canceled, request is received, communicate with the buyer via direct message to explain why the request will be declined, then proceed to decline it. Keeping your communication on our platform helps us to provide support if the buyer seeks a refund through the payment provider. So if they decide they want to file a chargeback, and this has always been important, keep the messages on ebay.com so you can cover your butt, because eBay does go at bat for you when there's a chargeback. So that's what we got, guys. What do you think? Look, and just another small change to me. It's not going to be the end of the world. You want to exercise good customer service practice. And I know that, look, if you get a sale, maybe it's on one of your good items, maybe it's been sitting for a while, you've been looking to sell this for a while, and for whatever reason, it hasn't sold until today, and then they come back at you wanting to cancel. It's very, very tempting to say, sorry, Charlie, you agreed to it. But I implore you that you want to look at creating the best buyer experience as you can, because, and I care about what you do, because that buyer may come back and buy something for me. And I want to be able to say that we're not losing buyers, we're keeping and maintaining buyers, because the buyer base is what keeps us here and what brings in the sales. And a lot of us are so worried about, and we should be, not getting the sales. Maybe sales are slow. Well, if we keep losing buyers, it's only going to keep getting slow. And if eBay tells us 25% buyer satisfaction increase because of this, I don't know where they're getting this number. I don't know who they pulled. They didn't ask me. They didn't ask anyone that I know.
Probably did a small
maybe
group of eBay sellers.
Maybe. And so if they're saying that it's going to help, then it may help. And my thing is, I'm willing to do my part. Hopefully you're willing to do your part, as long as eBay is willing to do their part. And if these buyers get nasty, let's say you already shipped it, they don't believe you, they want to leave you a nasty negative feedback, will eBay have our back? They say they will. They said about a month ago how they were going to come back in and look at 12 different scenarios where a buyer leaves a negative feedback, and it's not warranted, and they have been nothing but the same. As they're relying on AI, which is very, very restrictive, and in many cases we're trying to get negative feedback removed, and I've seen many stories about it, and eBay is denying it when it falls in line with being removed. So I don't know, eBay, if you're watching, maybe you stop watching this channel, but if you're watching, I'm sure the feedback and the comments are going to repeat kind of what I'm saying. You guys need to do your part in making sure that don't just tell us what you're going to do and then give it to AI that does something different. Follow up on that. That's where you can come in and really fix the damage between seller and the platform. That's you, where you have promised us a lot of things and you have fallen very, very short. And sorry, this is why eBay doesn't really care to interact with channels like this when it comes to inviting them to San Jose, or inviting them to be on videos, or hosting rooms for like the eBay Open, that type of thing, because we're just honest, and unfortunately honesty is being critical. And eBay, shame on you for not taking that as a positive, because we want to see things work the way they should. And it's just one of those things where sometimes the truth hurts, and you need to be a little bit open and honest with yourself that your platform is very, very lacking, and some of these things that we say are true and need to be handled. So that's my soapbox, and I just want to know what you guys think down below. And do me a favor, hit the like button. There's a lot of other live streams and a lot of other creators that like to take credit for the sale by hitting that like button, but it really originated here. So hit that like button, get that sale within the next 24 hours, and you can thank us for the karma that we're putting out there, the positive vibes. So speaking of positive vibes, we have Bearded Picker. He says, Moist will never be canceled, first by hours. Man, I mean,
maybe you
got here
shouldn't
early.
put the announcement up so early.
Why not? Why
Because we
not?
don't.
Here's the thing. If I come across something that's compelling enough to talk about, I'm going to put it out. I'm not going to forget about it. I'm going to put out the live content announcement early, but usually it's about 2 or 3 hours before the live starts. We got Andy Reno, who wants to be first, but first is not. He wasn't first this time. You're second. And second, you can ask Ricky Bobby about that. Callie Deb says, hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. We're doing great. Very good. This week was kind of iffy. Had a $590 day on Monday, $292 on Tuesday, Wednesday, $353. And then Thursday and today we're over $730 each. Sold that guitar. So that Fender guitar is sold, and it's is going to be picked up today. And all's well. Just been adding good merchandise to the store, and that, of course, always helps. Without that sale on the guitar, it's only about $150 day. So all's good there. We got Keith says, hi, all FA family. Hope you all had a good week. Yes. And Pitco, Keith came up with a good idea. To have the members only live. We're going to do it like once a month, where we do like a round table. So we had Beard jumped on with me, and we looked at my store, kind of showed you some things that I really don't show the thousands of people that tune in to watch either the live or the replay. Reason being is it's just the whole idea is to have other people on with me and to show me their store. Now, nobody did this time. But I'd like to do that going forward, to have someone jump in on the live or say, hey, I'm in the chat. Can you look at my store and kind of tell me the things that, and all of us collectively talk about that. So
yeah, we encourage you to put that out there, and to be willing to have an open discussion. It's not to put you down or talk shit about your store or what you sell. It's nothing like that. We want to be a community where we help each other and we help each other grow. And it would be really amazing if we could bring together people within that smaller group of people to be able to help you grow. And that's what the ultimate goal of that is.
And people be saying, hey, why would you go on and show people how to improve their stores and do this, that, and the other thing? Think about it like this. 136 people watching right now. What percentage of resellers on eBay does that make up? We're talking a drop within a drop within a drop in the bucket. It's a very, very small percentage of sellers who want to do better, and others either don't need the content, they're doing just fine, they don't look at YouTube videos, or others just don't even, they just do the best they can, flailing away on eBay Island. And the fact that you guys took the time to tune in to these videos, you know what? You're a step ahead of the competition as far as I'm concerned. Mark Suddick says, hi, John and Jenna. Thank you for another live. Everyone hit that like button to get more sales. It just works. Josh Galt says, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being here, Josh. Nice to see you. He had his live earlier today. If you didn't catch it, if not, he was live today. Yeah. He was looking in his treasure chest from 50 years ago and came across an authentic Cheech and Chong dynasty bowl. Pretty cool.
A weed bowl?
I don't know. Jovial Juggler says, hey, FAA fam, happy National Work From Home for Wellness Day.
Yes, I 100% agree.
Really? We don't need a day for it. We have all year.
I thought you were going to say something real snarky.
What was I going to say? You know me so well. What was I going to say?
I don't know. You're going to...
Don't get people started.
You were going to take a hit at me.
Don't get people started in the comments. Jackie Bleckner says, hi, all. Thanks for being here, Jackie. Pitco, this is before we started. It says, little over 6 minutes ago, known John through more like 15. Yeah.
Well... No. Funny thing is we thought, okay, we're going to go live 1 minute early just to prove that we're not going to go be late. And then he gets an error that pops up on the screen. I'm like, really?
It always happens. It's the library. I only have so much storage space. So StreamYard stores all the lives that we do for, usually like a month or two. But when I run out of storage, just saying, no, you can't even go live until you start removing these. So I had to go and delete a couple, but I was still early. Pingy, good afternoon on this Friday. John and Jenna in the chat. Thanks for being here. Jovial says, Prosser, how you been? We'd like to know that. Copper Cat says, hello, John, Jenna, and FA family, doing a little listing while listening, or listening while listing. Same thing. Henri Squaw says, howdy, FA family. Thanks for being here.
Howdy.
Got Flip It Good says, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Joe Samard says, hello, Jenna and everyone. Oh, and John, too.
Hello, Joe.
What am I, chopped liver? Victor Wawiorka says, hey, Jenna, John, and FAE family.
Hello, Victor.
Spam says, aloha, friends.
Aloha.
Amazon Seller 99 says, hey, guys, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Nice to see you. Mike Sellers with us, and thanks for being a member.
Hello,
hello, fellow flippers.
Granger.
Mike Gertis says, good evening. And Fisher Flips, good evening, John and Jenna. Hit that like button for that sale. Nice to see you, Scott. Henri Squaw says, hope it works.
Yes.
It does work.
It does. Ask
Q
Silverhill.
says, here listening while I'm watching.
Nice.
Watching while I'm listening. Howdy, says Larry Todd. Jovial Juggler, Jenna girl, you got your hair did. Love it. You look 10 years younger.
Ooh, I like that, but it's been done.
Jenna says I look like a washed out ghost.
Well, it's every time he wears black on his black chair. He doesn't look as bad as that one day that it happened, but
hey, guess what?
Oh, we
fixed it.
We have no house.
Yeah, we fixed it. The camera's not wigging out anymore, so it doesn't follow us. It's a fixed camera. I can turn it on and off. I know how to do it now, and I don't have to look like I don't have to have like a tear running down my face like that commercial back in the 80s. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Really that dramatic.
Emil Guillen says, now they can cancel quicker while I'm at the post office. Yeah, but
Well, hopefully, if you marked it as shipped,
but even if you don't though, you know, you have the label run. That's kind of the guideline I'd use. If you have the label run, go with it. If you get a cancellation afterwards, you've already paid for the label. Yeah, you can cancel it. You have to wait for your money to get returned. It's just a hassle. You know what? I think the line, you got to draw a line somewhere. What is it? Is it when you run the label? Is it before you take it to the post office?
Once I run the label, it's over. You're getting the item whether you like it or not. And I think it's not going to change the way we do run our shipping and all that. It's not going to change anything for us. I mean, it is what it is.
I just hope that eBay, when they come out with the message to the buyer, it's not the way it's worded, not telling the buyer, oh, don't worry, within 3 days you can cancel and it's no problem. I really hope they do say and make it clear that it is still optional. This is not a guarantee. We'll send the request to the seller and they do have the right to deny it. But I just think as sellers, we need to deny it if it's appropriate. You know, if you've run the label already, you've already taken the if you've already taken it, don't consider it.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Don't go back there, you know, to the UPS store or the post office saying,
I need my package back.
Yeah, don't do that.
No, I would not. No.
Now it seems ridiculous, but there are people out there who have done that.
Yeah, but don't waste your time. Your time is money, and that's just it's not worth it.
My Gerda says, I noticed they removed wrong address option when canceling an order.
Did they?
That is a interesting one.
Yeah, because I actually made somebody bought something on my store this morning, and he said, "Oh, can you send it to this address?" And I said, I'm gonna have to cancel the order, and then you're gonna have to rebuy it.
Mike, it's still there for me, man.
I used that this morning, so not sure.
Yeah. So real quick, want to, and there we go. So as you can see here, it's still here for me. When I go to check reason, I still have out of stock. Buyer asked to cancel or issue with buyer shipping address. So it still allows you to use that option, which I'm not going to cancel this sale, but it's maybe they've removed, if you've maybe if you used it too many times, they might take it away from you. So you might want to check if you have a sale. Of course, you're not wanting to cancel the sale, but go to that order, use the drop down and see if it gives you that option. Pitco, most of my items are shipped within an hour or two of payment. I know of people who will ship the thing right away. Yeah. How many of you guys out there, as soon as you get the sale, it's like, okay, I want to be able to say I got the sale and I don't want them to change their mind, and boom.
I feel like they're running their business in fear of people canceling.
Yeah.
Those are, I mean, it is what it is. You're either you're going to do a cancellation or you're going to get a return.
It feels like a return though. Cancellations kind of feel like a return. It feels like money's being taken out of your pocket. I get it. But we gotta convince ourselves to take those emotions, those feelings out of business and stop looking at it the wrong way. Look at yourself, look at it as, what would I want to have happen if I was a buyer and I know that there's a certain thing I wanted or needed and I thought I bought it, and after I confirmed it, you know, your second, your better half comes in and says, hey, by the way, if you're going to order this, whatever, you need to make sure you order this, and you didn't order that. Well, okay, do you want to face her or do you want to face a buyer? You probably don't want to face him or her. You probably want a seller. You would probably want to face a seller and say, hey, look, I'm a human. I made a mistake. We all got to put ourselves in that position that sometimes we may have read the listing. You know, we always think a buyer's not reading, which is true for some people, but some people may know exactly what they bought and still bought the wrong thing. So we all make mistakes, and treat people the exact way you would want to be treated as if you were the buyer and the role was reversed. Deborah J.K. says, I accept every cancellation request because 9 times out of 10, if you accept returns, they're going to return it, especially if the seller pays. Now, there's people who debate that.
there's been a number of times where we've gotten a cancellation request after the label's run, but it's sitting to go out. It hasn't been picked up yet. We will not cancel it. And those things they never came back.
I think it's a lot less than 9 times out of 10. I think it's more like 3 out of 10, maybe 4 out of 10, where they'll try to return it.
Yeah.
The Crazy Card says, "What's up, guys? Thanks for being here." Emil Guillen, get ready to cancel during Q4. There's going to be a lot of cancellations. I mean,
it's annoying, but it's just part of this business, unfortunately.
How about this? People cancel because they buy something. Let's say they buy a nice item, $100, $200 item. They buy it, and then they realize that, oh, I'm not going to be able to afford groceries. I'm not going to be able to put gas in my car. They have to trade one for the other. They may say, you know what, I screwed up. I didn't have the kind of money I needed to. I need to cancel. So, and they're not going to explain that to you. They're going to say, ordered by mistake or something like that. And, sometimes they reach out.
Cancel it and move on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's seriously taking your feelings out of the equation has done me so much good, because I have no feelings when it comes to the business. I mean, if that makes sense. When it comes down to, putting my emotions into the way we run our business, or the way that a buyer could possibly treat me, or has said something that I don't like. I don't care. And you just move on.
Yeah, the only side of the transaction, only party of the sale that should have feelings is the buyer, because if you've made a good enough listing, you met their needs, they're excited to get it. They, sometimes you make them feel like they're getting a deal. They've got a good value. They're happy to get whatever they got. And when they get it, it's also, now, have you packaged it in a way where they get it? They have a perception that you cared enough to package it right. They get it. Everything looks good. That makes them feel like, you know what, this is a good transaction. Yeah. You're creating value for the buyer, not yourself. And so if they get emotional with good positive feedback and or negative feedback, it should be a reflection of how well did we make them feel about the sale. And I got negative feedbacks, and I can go back and look, and could I have done a better job? I'd say about half the time, it's something that maybe I could have done differently in the eyes of the buyer, but it may not be in line with what we normally do. So, like, for instance, if we have and let's say a garden tool, like a Works or Black & Decker edger. I don't know if you guys know what that is. An edger, when you want to get the grass cut on your sidewalk, and so you're using that edger tool to get rid of the extra long blades of grass that seep over into your walkway. Well, people buy those, and there's not really enough room in the original factory box to really put a whole lot of extra padding. So sometimes we do the best we can, but it's not a whole lot. Now, I've got a negative feedback recently because somebody got it and there was really no extra padding in there. The item got there fine, but their perception was I didn't care enough to put to pad it up, like if it was an antique or something. So I just got to do a little bit better next time. Maybe.
Well, yeah, I do find that you don't add enough.
Sometimes they don't. Sometimes
on those.
But I can say I
did have to repackage one today because you did that.
I can say though, and we're kind of getting off on a tangent, but that's what we do on this program. That air pillow machine with the quilted air pillows, game changer. Game changer. I'm using less bubble wrap, and it really does a great job of protecting stuff in these boxes. So I'm very, very happy with that. Only spent a couple $100 between the machine and the rolls, and like this roll of like quilted air pillows is just like, it's lasting a long time. So it's pretty good. Keith says, my orders are shipped within an hour or so. Are they now saying I should wait till next day to ship?
I don't think they're saying that to wait. I think they're just saying that this is what could happen.
Well, it all depends on your shipping policy.
Yeah.
So if you have 3 days handling, right? Buyer pays, and tomorrow morning you wake up and you get a notification from the buyer saying, I would like to cancel. Well, they're well within their rights to do that, because they weren't expecting you to ship it out for 3 days anyway, if they're paying attention. Now it's up to you to say, no, I've shipped it already. Here's a tracking number. And if you're going to do that, you're going to need to get that thing in the mail, because it's not going to look good on you if you just run over and run a label real fast, but you don't ship it out for a couple days. That buyer is going to be like, well, you said you couldn't cancel it because you shipped this already, but there's no tracking showing that they even got the item yet. So you got to be careful with that. Big Dre says, hello, everyone. I've been updating older listings with better photos and more accurate descriptions. During summer slowdown, I was over 8,200 for my 90-day total, but it's down to 7,130 right now. So now you're down to, is that your number of listings that you have in your store? You're down a little bit. Now I'm wondering if that's because of having good sales, and it's like me, when I get my store, it doesn't seem like a lot, guys, but for whatever reason, it just seems like I'm having the hardest time getting my store over 200 items, because the sales are just bringing me down. I'm playing tug of war with eBay. We're up to about 190 now, and the goal is just to keep building it as much as I can, but I'm not going to turn my nose up at sales. So keep improving your listings. I do take a little longer to get my listings done, because I do know that eBay wants you to have a complete listing. And I do know that once my buyer gets in my listing, I want the listing to look professional, and I want them to have every reason to buy my item instead of clicking away. Tampa Bay Pickers with us. Thanks for being here.
Hello.
And he might be in his bunker, but Kevin Hawthorne is with us from an undisclosed location.
Hi,
so
Kevin.
Hopefully you're safe today. Brian Barrett says, hey, everyone. I hope everyone's week has been profitable as mine. First time ever that I've had 6 $1,000 days in a row.
Nice. Woo!
Wow. You're tearing it up.
Yeah, Brian.
You need to jump on that members only live that we have. We're going to have one next month, and jump on as a guest and show us, play a little show and tell. Let us see how you're doing. But the good thing about the members live is it's a very small group, so you're not sending it out to the world and hurting your business. Spam Banshee says buyers have been able to leave feedback, sometimes negative, on buyer initiated canceled orders. So hopefully this new policy will help sellers some. I just hope that eBay will follow through with their promises, and their promises are, they didn't say may, they didn't say, well, we'll look at it. They said will. That tells me that they 100% of the time will remove the negative feedback on a canceled transaction.
Dre said that is 90-day total sales, 7,130. I'm
Okay.
down in sales by about 1,000 from last month of 8,200 in sales.
So you're down from 8,200 to 7,130 right now. So we got to look at it in perspective. I mean, some people might say, wow, Dre, that's still good. I would say that would be, we're at 41,000 right now. So, and I'm not trying to compare mine to yours, but I'm just saying that everyone has a different perspective. So if that's a good number still for you, then you're fine. But if you're like, wow, this is getting serious, it went from 8,000 to 7,000 and it's trending downward, it might be where you need to make some changes.
And also too, didn't you just have surgery? So are you still listing? I know you're active because you're doing all these things to your account. However, are you listing? We notice on our account anyway that as long as we stay actively putting listings up, the continuous sales don't really, of course they fluctuate, but they don't disappear. So you take into the fact that, you've been down for a couple of weeks. You've got summer slowdown happening, the economy is happening, there's just various things that could attribute to it. But we're going to be coming up into Q4, and I'm pretty sure that, you're ready to get up and get back into a regular routine, from having your surgery. So I think overall you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, it's hard to say though. We don't really know where you normally are, aside from the data you gave us for last month. Let me just tell you guys, if it wasn't for the community seeing the comments on the Profit Playbook podcast, the comments that you guys put on this channel, I'm doing better than we've ever had. I would think right now, wow, this economy is great. But the reality is, if I'm looking outside my sphere and willing to see beyond what I have going on here, there's a lot of people that are struggling right now, a lot of people that are hurting for sales, and it's because of the economy. Guys, 2 years ago, I was talking about this. Start focusing on the needs to sell over the wants. Maybe make a second store. Keep your want items on one, focus on need items for the other. If you're truly trying to make reselling work, that to me is a hack maybe that you can use to get through hard times. But there's an element of people that I probably would be in line with right now saying that what problem with the economy? Everything's fine. I'm getting my sales. I just sold a $600 guitar today. People have money.
And that was my thought when I was shipping it, was like, wow, you've got this whole separate group of people who are really hurting right now. And then you've got this one guy that bought this guitar for almost $600. Mm-hmm. It just kind of, I don't know, makes you think a little bit.
People got money. There's people have money, but there's fewer and fewer people that really have money mm-hmm. than ever before. The separation between the haves and the have-nots are even, wider than it ever has been. And there's a lot of people that can't afford, to buy the basics or the things that they'd like. While there's people who can just buy whatever the heck they want. And it's the goal. The goal is to get there. Are you going to get rich reselling? No, but can you live a comfortable life to where you don't have to worry anymore about paying your bills? And we were there 2 years ago, guys. It was bad. Okay. And you got to really just keep working on improving your business, and things will change. So I don't know, Dre. I don't know if you're getting better, your health. That's the number one concern. He's still listing. Yeah, the number one goal is to make sure you're healthy, and it's natural that you're going to drop off your performance after having surgery. But now you're feeling better. Now, what are you going to do to bring those numbers back up? Yeah. And everyone's going to have a different answer to do that. Let's see. What'd you do? Well, I'm just trying to find, here's Dre again. Poshmark refunded my buyer even though they did not return the item, and Poshmark never responded to my messages. So that's weird, because normally Poshmark will say, okay, we're going to step in, like let's say they have a problem with the item. So they open a case, and then Poshmark will then step in, take about 24 hours to decide, and then usually they'll tell the buyer, just return the item. Of course, you're paying for that return label, and then send it back to you. If they've done that to you, where they have given the buyer a refund on your dime, now you might want to check it out. They might have decided to give the buyer a refund on their dime. Yeah. And if that's the case, then don't worry about it. Yeah. But you might want to go back and read the message. And then if it's not clear, contact Mercari. I'm willing to bet it's probably on their dime. Yeah. But if it's on your dime, then you need to make sure that they make you whole, because that's not part of their process.
Yeah. And we had that happen before, where a similar situation happened, but it came from Poshmark. We didn't see any of that money. The money that they paid was to us, and we never had it taken away.
Well, look what the dog drug in here. John is in Alaska. Damn, a whale. Jealous. No, it is a fat woman at the buffet.
Stop.
Was that like a joke or something? Okay. Southern Vermont Vintage is with us. Thanks for being here. And she's going to laugh. She's going to laugh.
You saw me laugh.
Victor, I don't believe what eBay says until it's proved out.
This is true. It's very hard to, even though it's written in and it's written plain out, it's very hard to trust anything that they say.
And I really think AI is well intentioned, but AI allows eBay to be in their own way. So while eBay will come out and say, well, it's not intended that a negative will be left if you have a cancellation and that you declined and the buyer gets mad. AI doesn't see it that way, unfortunately. And eBay needs to do better to eBay proof their own policies. Piotr, hopefully I got that right. Kornichuk says, buyer left me negative feedback after I provided him with all the information to resolve an issue. And sometimes that happens, and it's like, wow, I took all these steps to help you. I had one time where from the beginning of the transaction to the end, I was like, it was 20 questions, getting measurements of something, packing it extra great. And then they leave this crazy negative feedback. And it's like, man, we were contacting and talking to each other. You couldn't have reached out to me and worked it out with me before leaving a negative feedback. Okay. Emil says, can they fix the return process money held in limbo when they don't return anything? So that's certain accounts. So like my main account, if I get a return, they don't hold that money. That money is not put on hold. On my secondary account, which we've had for many years now, but it doesn't sell at the same volume, when we get a return, they automatically hold those funds. And then, of course, the buyer gets 35 days after they open the request, what the heck, some ridiculous amount. And if they choose to, this is where a buyer can really screw a seller if they want to. They can be happy with the item, but maybe mad at the buyer or at the seller. And then 29th day, they open a return request. So now that money's held against you and never close it, right? Until eBay steps in. It's a broken process. I'll put it that way. Yeah. Mike says, I had a stalker yesterday leave me 2 negatives. They did me wrong on a transaction, so I canceled. They have opened several new accounts and buy my stuff, used the removal tool, and was removed. Wow. So here's where eBay can come in and they can actually, and they've done this before, they can see if you have a list of these buyers, they can see if they're coming from the same IP address. So same household. So, people will open multiple accounts and they will do that thinking that they're being slick, not understanding that eBay can see where these IP addresses are from. We had that situation with those kids in Illinois Central University or whatever that was sending us all that crap with that. And Kevin Commonwealth had the same issue. And contacting eBay, getting a supervisor on the line. And yes, it's possible, but it's hard sometimes. But they can go in and look and say, you know what? Something funny is going on here. And they would be more willing or compelled to maybe remove those negatives if they see that someone's, it's circumventing the block buyer process.
Yeah.
David says, hey, John and Jenna and FA family, sales are picking up. I'm hitting the like for the content. Well,
nice.
Thanks,
David.
We're going to get you another sale, though, for that. John says, we booked another cruise, going to need a place to park the Fiat. You're always welcome.
You're always welcome.
I was very, very surprised. We're at...
Where is your Fiat right now?
We were at dinner a couple weeks ago, and John's like, hey, I thought he was trying to sell me a car. And it's like, yeah, you got room for a Fiat? And I'm like, no, I don't want another car in my driveway. I've got one car in the driveway right now. That's good enough. And he's like, no, I'm not trying to sell you a car. I'm like, oh, if you're trying to park it so you can go on your cruise, you're 100% welcome to. Yeah. So I look at John as a good friend, family.
So where is the next cruise is what I want to know.
I don't know. I want to know instead
and where's my invite?
Yeah, I want to know instead of can we park your car? Like, hey, when are you guys going to go with us? Andy Reno's with us. Thanks for being here, Andy.
Scott doesn't count as the first.
Ed, hustle and grow. Second is first to lose. Yeah. But you know what? I think if we're looking at if we're taking Ricky Bobby's attitude on second is the first loser, right? I really think that we're focusing on the result instead of the effort. So good on Andy for the effort. The result just wasn't there.
He really tried.
Yeah.
It was just a couple hours too late.
Samantha says, good evening, John and Jenna. If I typed something wrong, please forgive me. I'm having a problem with my site. It's okay. We're all getting there. Jenna, and if we did this on camera, you guys would really get on my butt. But you know what? Jenna, I've been like having to ask her like 2 or 3 times because she's having a hard time hearing me lately. So I think, are you having pain right now? You give me that painful look.
You're going to be having
I can see the pain in your eyes.
very soon.
Jovial says, Jenna, did you wear the turquoise jewelry so you'll be representing the how hand?
No.
Wow.
No, I just love turquoise.
See, we can do all of our hand gestures, and this camera's behaving.
I can scratch my nose. I can use my hands.
And that's the cool thing about technology. You know, sometimes you can get a device that's a little bit like advanced, and it's like, I'm sending this back. But once you learn how to use whatever it is, it's really, I'm glad I got this. I wish I'd have got it before. Josh's Greedy Guts eBay. Yeah, it's we know who they are. Watch the Profit Playbook podcast. Guys, by now we know who eBay is. And if eBay you're watching, it's not a knock on you, but if you're not being honest with yourself, then you're going to get mad. But if you're being honest, just admit that it's all about the shareholders. That's what keeps you an employee. That's what keeps the the CEO in millions of dollars, right? I'm not hating on it. I'm just being real. And the sellers come in kind of third place behind the buyer. As long as we understand where eBay is, who they are, then a lot of these things won't bother us as much. John says, my wife says I show my ass. Well, don't do that here, please. It's a family show. Larry Todd, gold is $2,500. Ooh, I got some gold. See, I told you, honey. She looked at me funny when I bought 2 ounces of gold about 2-3 months ago, and she's like, do you even know what you're doing? I'm like, trust me, I got this. So
it's because of you, Todd.
And we bought some silver too. Mike Seller says,
Yes,
we did. We got some silver. The Star Wars, no, not the Star Wars, but just the generic ones. The Star Wars, I got the cool commemorative Star Wars gold.
I never saw the silver.
Okay, well, I'll show you after we're done here. Mike Seller says, I should have my webcam set up by the next live.
Yeah.
Please, that'd be awesome to have you guys.
That'd be really cool. Then I get to see Ranger live, right?
Just want to have a group of people who, look, we're not going to blast out the video to the world. It's going to be a very small group of people. I think we had like 10 to 15 on the live out of all the members. I think we have like 30 something members, but only like 10 to 15 people, but we still had a very good conversation. Yeah. And I think it allows us to kind of dive deeper than we can dive into these live streams.
It's a lot more personal as far as communication. I mean, it's like having a chat on FaceTime with a friend, and that's the way we see it.
Big Dre says summer slowdown has killed Mercari and Posh sales. Only eBay keeps chugging along. Our sales on Mercari have been like slow.
Zero.
Didn't we have a sale though? We sold a pair of shoes, didn't we?
On Posh.
What did we sell on Mercari? We didn't sell anything?
No,
we did.
We bought stuff on Mercari.
Well, yeah.
But we didn't.
I tend to buy things like my golf balls on Mercari. You get really good deals on that. Yeah. But I'm always one to look for a deal. Pitco says the Roundtable Live will only work if the members are serious about what they do and are willing to jump in and say they have look at my store to see if any tips on what I can do better. Yes. So we will continue the Roundtable to do it once a month if the members, like half the people they were gifted the membership, but maybe it's a good thing. They're shown that, hey, there's other ways that you can try to improve. I can't make it a full-blown thing for the whole world because nobody would want to jump on and say, hey, take a look at my store so that everyone is, in their business.
Nobody wants to have 150 people watching their store.
Yeah.
Not that we're rude or mean or say things in a negative manner, but we certainly are honest.
Yeah. And so the goal is, look, maybe you have a great thing going on. Maybe you want to share the positivity. Look, maybe we can learn like, oh, wow, I didn't know you're doing that thing. That would help me. And so now we can get something out of it. And maybe you're doing that thing that is hurting your sales that this other guy's doing. And you see that, collectively the group saying, hey, I would do this differently. maybe that would be the key to unlocking some sales. You just never know.
And I was going to say the most valuable information that we usually get, I hate to give him this much credit. His head's going to go like this big. But when John is on the live with Bearded Picker and all the guys, the after show is where all of the tea gets spilled and where all of the secrets and the good information that people really would love to hear about, but it's stuff that we hold close to our chest because we want you to succeed, but we also don't want to get harassed for certain things. So there's a lot of valuable information when you're amongst friends.
Yeah. And in this last Members Only Live, I was talking about how I do things, why I do my listings the way I do, and to understand the background of where I've been and what I've seen and the perspective that I have to understand. And I think I've said this before on this, so I'll say it again. I used to do drop shipping. So I have perspective from a drop shipper standpoint, and I can see that eBay, even though they say it's not something that they allow it to happen, and they allow the techniques to be used against you. You're competing against a lot of these techniques. And so instead of just sitting back saying, okay, well, I guess they're going to get caught. They don't get caught. They get caught once in a while doing these things, like using stock photos when they shouldn't be using stock photos, doing just all kinds of stuff. Now, I don't utilize a whole lot of the techniques that drop shippers use, but I certainly know that I'm up against them, and I'm going to use every technique that they're allowing them to use. So I go into that. This is what I did on this last live. And the way I look at it is there's rules that eBay gives us, and there's rules that eBay enforces. Okay. And I'm going to toe the line every single time to do everything I can to make the sale. Call it what you want, but this is that part of business and competition. And I'm going to share what I know works with the people that want to know. And I have no problem doing it. Jovio says, stop it. The sippy cup matches the jewelry. Love it. You go, girl. John, take that beautiful woman out for McDonald's this evening. Sure.
No.
I'm loving it.
That is not what Rhonda said.
Christine T. Anderson.
Thank you, my love.
So I sold something for parts. The buyer opened a return because they took the part they needed and want the return for the remainder for a partial refund.
That sucks. We've had that happen a couple times.
Yeah, unfortunately. Sucks. And you know,
people are just ruthless. They think eBay is Amazon because that happens on Amazon a lot.
No return outbound shipping. Keep that and give the 50%. Mm-hmm. Don't go if you're going to use a refund tool, don't do it half-assed. And I say half-assed. I know eBay gives us guidelines like, oh, in this case, take 10%. Oh, in this case, take 20%. The reason why you do not want to deduct anything less than 50% when using that tool is eBay will not give you your fees back. If the moment you keep shipping, the moment you keep a part of that refund, a partial refund, they do not give you any of your fees. But if you give them a full refund, they'll give you your fees. So let's say a $100 sale, maybe you're into it for 30%. The 30% of it's in fees between your final value fee and your promoted listing fees. I mean, I hope you're not that high. I mean, to me, I think the highest ever goes like 20, 23%. But let's say 30, just for a number. That's $30. So if you're going to say you're going to take that, they paid, let's say $100 you received, 20 of it was for shipping. So really it's 80, but you got feed off of 100. Half of that's 40, right? So you're keeping 40 and you're not getting $30 back. So you win by $10. But I think, and I know this, the more you use that tool where eBay has to step in and make the buyer whole, they think that you're abusing it. So you only really want to do the math. To me, I just did one where it was this. Oh, I don't have it anymore. I relisted it. This person sent back this litter box. It's a Pet Zone litter box. It's an automated thing where, you know, when the cat uses it, they get out of the box and then automatically it scoops it up and, you know, dumps the shit into the little thing. And so they got it and said, well, this doesn't seem to be a good quality, and I'm afraid that it's going to break down. Look, I got it back and I tested it. This thing works just the same as any of these other boxes I've ever sold. Now I could have deducted the original shipping, which I don't refund the original shipping, but when they say things like doesn't work or as broken as the reason, which it wasn't the reason, they lied. I wanted just to deduct that. It was like $20-something shipping, but I looked at the two. I ran it to see, wow, I'm going to have to refund 72, or if I don't even use the tool, I'll refund 80. Is it worth an extra $8 to maybe have this extra situation in eBay's eyes on file, look at them abusing the system? So for me, I just said, you know what, the cost of doing business, $8 more. Here's your refund. Have a nice day. I got my eBay fees back, which made it so it was only $8 difference. And you know what? It always stings. Even losing $1 on eBay when you don't have to stings, but you got to pick and choose your battles. And that refund tool, man, you can get that email. There's been people who've actually lost the ability to use the refund tool because they've used it too much. So be very, very careful on that. Chastity's with us. Hi, all. Thanks for being here. Axe Monkey got his sale. Awesome. Wiggy Q says, y'all make me smile. Well, thank you for being here. You guys, I got to tell you, if it wasn't for you guys, 150 of you guys watching right now, it would be us in eBay Island. So it's you guys that we look forward to talking to. That's why we don't miss these when we don't have to. David K say, what's the new cancellation policy? Ultimately, David, in a nutshell, it's instead of an hour where the buyer can send a cancellation request, they have up to 3 days to send you a cancellation request. Really, it's up to that time when you finally run the label, because once you run the label, that option is not there anymore. But they can still ask you to cancel. They can still reach out to you and ask you to cancel, and it's up to you on how you want to handle it. Juan says, happy Friday. Tesla Pup says hi. Well, thank you for being here. Is that the Tesla Pup? Okay. TreeCat says, hi, FA and friends. Happy Friday to everyone. So TreeCat's coming out with some exciting things. A lot of Poshmark sharing stuff. That's really, really cool. And they are working hard behind the scenes. They are getting very close to being the complete cross-listing tool as far as I'm concerned. And that's without utilizing like AI and stuff. It's still not, AI is not all that developed. I'm sure at some point down the road, they might go down that road, but there's a lot of cool things that allows you to keep everything under one entity, which is on TreeCat, and list and do all kinds of stuff. So if you're interested in checking it out, use the link down below for TreeCat and get your items in front of more people than just relying on eBay. Let's see. John called his waiter a dumbass. Okay, that's nice. Dark Horse Production says, I got my sale earlier this week. I like the stream. I'm counting that ish. Yes. Well, no, we like to say if you hit the like button, it's good for a current or future sale. So you're going to get another sale here. Emil says, my store is vintage supermarket store. But I'm not sure if you want us to look at that. I can. If you want me to pull it up in front of thousands of people. Remember, we have 150 people here watching right now, but usually about 1,500 watch the replay. So if that's something we have time for and you want us to look at, we can do that. Juan says, I still have the issue with the address option. The issue with the address option not allowing you to utilize the cancellation because of address. Maybe you want to refresh my memory on that. Dark Horse says, love you guys. Hope all is well with everyone in chat and you guys. Well, we're doing good. We're doing fine. Travis in Dallas says, yes, they will remove if abused. They tend to, and especially with AI now, AI is looking at your behaviors, and anything that they believe. And it always seems to be as compared to your peers, the peers that may not even use these tools. So they're comparing your behavior to the other sellers, and then they're going to determine that maybe you're abusing it when you're not. You're using it when it's appropriate, when others aren't. Josh Galt says, I clicked the unsubscribe button on eBay's seller updates email. Ping G says, I have 1 day handling and I print the label the morning I plan to ship. That's kind of what we do. Sunday nights, if we see that, wow, we're like around 30 items that need to be shipped tomorrow, then she might get a jump on it Sunday night and do shipping.
Almost always do.
Yeah. Mike Seller says, I usually ship within an hour. Post office is 2 minutes away. That's kind of the thing with us. It's about 2 or 3 minutes away as well. Dark Horse says, I want to get to this point of someday shipping out, maybe 1 day shipping, under promise, over deliver. Yeah, that's always a good thing. I would say, look, if you are full-time and you have an automobile, there's some people who are full-time, they don't have a car, they rely on pickup, and it's wise to have 1 day handling or 2 day handling so that if the mailman fails to come, which happens to us every so often, you still have tomorrow, right? And you don't have to worry about being late. But if you have an automobile, have a way to get to the post office, you can get same day pickup from the post office, schedule it out every 6 months like we do, and get that service, then you can usually safely go same day. The less days that you put in, the better turnaround time the buyer's going to get, that eBay's telling the buyer you're going to get it on Saturday instead of Monday. And that could make the difference between them getting a sale, you getting a sale, and that somebody else getting your sale when that item's going to get there. Nick Rinaldi says, I think it will have little to no difference. Rather than cancel, then return it for buyer's remorse later on, where I have to purchase a label for them. Yeah. Now, especially if free returns, right? Free returns, it's buyers are like, yeah, this is going back. Yeah, they couldn't cancel it. I don't need it. It's going back, right? By unsuspecting buyers who don't know the workarounds of eBay, that if you have an item where you don't offer free returns, maybe they're like, well, you know what, I guess I got to keep it because I don't want to spend $10 to send this thing back, right? So just depends on who you're dealing with. Pitco, I'm not changing the way things are done. If the label is run, they're getting the item. They can do return requests later if they want, but I ain't canceling if the label runs.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
And you got to think of it, once you run the label and you decide to cancel, you're creating more work for yourself. So now I've got to go and find the shipping labels link. If that's assuming you bought it on eBay, if you bought it on Pirate Ship or FedEx or UPS, you got to go find their cancel link and know that that money ain't coming back to you right away. That money is coming back to you within days. So it's time, it's money, and all for what? The fact that the buyer couldn't change their mind quick enough? I don't know. But utilize your best judgment on that. Dark Horse says, hustle buddy, that's great, but remember to rest and take time with your loved one. Yeah, that is definitely, I mean, what is it all for if, we ignore the people that are important to us, right? So
speaking of ignoring, we will be going to California next weekend. So there will not be a live next Friday.
And we're not ignoring you. It's just that we gotta get out there and spend time with family, right?
Yeah, it's our granddaughter's 3rd birthday.
And we gotta take the dogs with us so we can both go. It's gonna be a fun little trip. Gotta find a way to the beach. Gotta find a way to sneak in around to golf at some point. Me and my golf,
He always tries to pack in so much during a 2-day visit. I don't know. There's no possible way to get golf in.
We'll have to figure it out.
No, unless we're staying longer. And that I can get down with.
Juan says, I'd rather cancel before shipping and prevent a problem. Relist and keep going. People don't like to hear it, but Amazon is the standard. It is. It's what people expect. Unfortunately for eBay, they're never going to beat Amazon on a number of things. My nose keeps itching because I have like hairs on my face. You guys see them? And this fan is blowing my facial hairs. And I'm like, man, it's like someone's taking a feather and tickling me right under my nose. It's annoying as hell. Yeah, thank you. But what I'm trying to say is Amazon is the standard. I can order something today and get it by 5 o'clock. Yeah. eBay, you can't do that.
Not now.
Well, yeah. Dark Horse, don't be shy about hiring help as you grow. I know firsthand, under promise, over deliver. We're good. We're good. I think. Okay, so if you're Josh Galt, he wants to grow his operation to where it's like churning, right? And he's going to step away, and his operation is going to be running like a business should. Is that what I want? Kind of, right? I kind of want that, but if I'm being real with myself, is this something that I can maintain between now and the time I get my retirement at 67? And then even at 67 in the next 17 years, I'll be like Todd, and I'll be doing this stuff on a smaller level, because you enjoy reselling. I'm not just going to stop reselling. So maybe cut out the large items, a lot more smalls, that kind of thing. Deborah says, I sell mostly clothing and shoes, and they threaten me if I don't accept the cancellation that they're going to open a return request. Right now, I'd say 9 times out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really sucky.
And then you say, do what you got to do.
Yeah. If it's easy for you to do it. And I mean, don't. We're not the gurus of all this. This is not, I mean, Kent might think so, but that's negotiable.
Nick says, everyone's overreacting for sure. You can do this on Poshmark already, and it's happened to me less than 5 times. Mm-hmm. Not sure if by talking about it, we're overreacting. I think we all as sellers need to be aware of the rules. It's like, would you play a board game for money? I guess you'd play a board game for free if you didn't know the rules. But let's say, look, as a kid, I remember I used to play Monopoly with a buddy of mine. We were in high school, and we would gamble our baseball cards. So we would have like our binders and go over his house, and we'd play Monopoly. And anytime you landed on free parking, you had to put like a $5 card in the free parking. And so when someone hit free parking, they got it. Or when you went to jail, you had to pay a certain card, and then we'd be playing for like a $50 baseball card. Gambling goes back, okay? But would I play that game if the rules changed and I didn't know the rules or the strategy? No. So I think as sellers, we need to actually be aware anytime eBay makes changes. And so it's not really I don't think it's overreacting. I just think it's just knowing what those changes are and what to expect. Now, what eBay is saying and what actually happens could be 2 different things, but we still need to know what those are. Samantha says, okay, my left eye is opened. eBay is doing what? eBay is single-handedly sabotaging their business. They'll be one of the eBiz to fold. Why? I don't know if that's the case, because look, they have maintained enough of a market share to say they outperform Poshmark, they outperform Mercari. Even after all these years, these sites have come into play. You have 2 years of Whatnot, which has taken some of their market share, but yet they're still on top. So I think that they're confident knowing that they can do whatever they want, and they're still going to be on top. That's the way I see it.
I don't see it as any more than it's really not going to change our business. To be quite honest, they come up with all these big, extravagant, oh my God, we're doing a change. It's really not that big of a deal.
No. And as long as there's sales, as long as there's money, as long as when I put items up, they sell, you know what? It's anytime they change or increase rates, it's a pain, right? But I'm still going to make it work. Susan says, if order happens during the day before USPS closes, I ship the same day. Okay. Victor says, eBay needs to keep better tabs on buyer misuse of cancellation and false INADs. I agree. They say that they keep track of it. They say that buyers are held to a standard, a certain standard, and they come back and say, well, we can't share individual outcomes. We can't tell you about this particular buyer and what has happened to them. And I'm never asking for that. I want to know, and I've always said this, as sellers, we have an idea because you've told us that you do stuff to, you sanction buyers that do all this. But maybe if you came out with a report once a year and said, hey, last year in 2024 or or 2023, we canceled, or we suspended this many number of buyers, or we sanctioned buyers in this way this many times. And just to let us know that you guys are doing something, but all we can do is guess, because you are not transparent with the data. Pitco says you got to have a thick skin and not let anyone get to you. Remember, it's not personal. It's a job, and people will call, and call centers will know this all too well. Yeah.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yep. Many times people would come on the phone, and I'd get, you're not giving me the lowest fare because whatever, right? They try to insinuate that I'm being racist or something. I've had that happen, right? And it's like, I don't even know who you are. I'm just on the phone with you.
I can't see you. This is not FaceTime.
Yeah. And going back to what Victor said, though, about keep better tabs on buyers and all that. If you owned a brick and mortar and you had, let's say, a group of people that would come into your store and shoplift all the time, and you're like talking to the police and saying, is something being done? Yeah, we take care of, we prosecute these shoplifters all the time, but they're not willing to give you any data. It's like, how do we know they're just not being slapped on the wrist and they're coming back and stealing more stuff?
Exactly. And then, that leads me to, how do you know that these cancellations are not valid? How does eBay check that?
Are they playing the system? I get
if they're, excessively canceling, maybe they're doing it a couple times a week, but if they're doing it once a month, there's no way to check these things.
Well, we know that eBay is partially responsible for cancellations anyway, right? They won't acknowledge it. So they continue to show the same item to the buyer after the checkout process. Mm-hmm. And then they wonder, well, why are buyers wanting to cancel? Well, because you've confused them.
Yeah.
So they talk about adding, let's make it 25% more buyer friendly by increasing the cancellations by 0.2%, like they were talking about in that little blurb that they put out. Okay, fine, it's a trade-off. But you're you're causing some of those cancellations by creating buyer confusion. You're doing the opposite of low effort buyer experience. You're creating a high effort buyer experience. No buyer wants to be that guy. Well, some people might want to be that guy or gal who reaches out saying, "Oh, I need to cancel because I'm saving $10," right? So stop that, and you can stop some of these cancellations. For me, it's not that big of a deal. At all. Things happen, I know, but if we're dealing with cancellations that are caused by that, and if cancellations are caused by the fishermen, nobody talks about the fishermen. It's the people who go out and leave or send offers for 5 or 10 items. They only want the one, but they're best offering every seller that sells it. And you've accepted that sale. And guess what? They get it $10 cheaper because this other person came back and accepted their lower offer. Well, they're going to want to cancel yours. Nobody ever talks about the fishermen. The fishermen. Jerry Johnson says, "Hi, John, Jenna, and FAE family. A little late, but I made it."
Hi, Jerry.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And then, of course, it's past John's nap time. It's 4 p.m. Pacific time, and he's in Alaska, so it's actually like 2 o'clock. I think, and
because he's read the rest of it.
My employees will handle returns for me while I'm sleeping, trying to stay up to see the Northern Lights tonight.
Yeah, so he's taking a nap so that he can watch the Northern Lights tonight.
I am
so jealous.
Gotta give you
That's
hell.
Like a bucket list thing. I want to see the Northern Lights one day in my life.
David Pentland says, "My cancel rate is less than 1%. I don't accept returns unless it's an INAD. My returns are very late. I make mistakes at times, and I tend to refund if it's low priced." I'm sure you meant my returns are very low, not late. But we get it. Yeah. It's good to know. My returns are a little higher than that. I'll just put it that way. Susan says, "I think a few drunk buy and wake up, see what they purchased. LOL." Yeah, I think a lot are fishermen. We don't talk about those fishermen. They're trying to get the lowest price. They'll go to every best offer of the same item, send offers. They only need one. They don't need 10 of them. 5 people reply accepting their offer, and now they've got to cancel, right? Yeah. Samantha says, "Why is eBay trying to sabotage the reseller for what? We're on their side, are we not?" I think in eBay's eyes, they're trying to maintain a buyer base. And if that means at the cost of sellers or upsetting sellers, they will do that. And I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at eBay doing what they can to improve buyer retention so that they're not, leaving the platform. But again, eBay needs to do a better job of being transparent. Don't just fluff it up, and say this is why we're doing it. Be real. Give us the data. I think most businesses use data to help make decisions, and we want to know, why is this affecting my business the way it is? And that data would be useful. Maybe put out a page, a link to a page that shows the data before and after from this change, and help us appreciate why you're making the change. Mike says, I worked the parts counter at a John Deere dealership for 30 years, so I think I'm good in the thick and skin department.
Yeah. Anybody who has had a customer service job has got to have thick skin.
Samantha says, if this is eBay's latest fumble, then we shouldn't be penalized for it. It's only a fumble, Samantha, is if they don't follow through. I don't see a problem with this change, right? If this is a data-driven change, I don't see a problem with it, except maybe there needs to be a little bit more transparency, and they need to follow through. If they say they will, and not may, they will delete the negative feedbacks that are a result of this, then they need to follow through with that. Pitco, my motto is, if I'm not comfortable with being able to throw my packages across the room without them breaking, then I shouldn't be shipping them. It's what happens with the mail carriers over here. Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time. You can watch videos on people who are on airplanes and they're looking out, and they watch them throw the bags down onto the tarmac.
It's just like he's saying, like your luggage that gets put into check bags. They are not gentle at all.
Vicky's with us. Thanks for being here,
Hi,
Vicky. Big Dre says, still listing because I have enough back stock, but I'm getting more no sale days this month than usual, which I attribute to summer slowdown. Summer slowdown, don't really quite know your operation, but on days that kind of slow down for me, I'm more motivated. It's like, you know what? Let's just get it going. Let's get as much stuff up, because I know good days are coming, and it's, you get the $1,000 day followed by a $200 day, and that kind of thing happens. Mm-hmm. Duncan says, happy sales to you too. You have to have a daily listing target to keep the sales coming. Not only you can't just list junk. If people are not buying your stuff, why keep listing it?
True.
Well, there's a few reasons. It's it used to sell. This stuff used to sell for us all the time. Number two, we enjoy selling this stuff. So we're going to keep selling this stuff because it's what we know, it's what we like, it's what we're used to. There's a lot of comfort, right? It's staying within your comfort zone. And I think sometimes, while that's, for lack of a better word, comforting to be able to be in that comfort zone, it's holding you back. It's holding you back. Texas Bandit, good afternoon. Nice seeing you.
Hello.
Mike Sellers says, too much doom and gloom in the media. Everyone is tightening their purse strings. Yeah. It's doom and gloom. And I think, I think the doom is not, I hate to say this, guys. I think the doom part of it on the economic side is not reported enough. It's being underreported. And there's various reasons for that. I'm not going to get into all that right now, but I really think that, heck, I'm just a guy that sells out of my garage. I knew 2 years ago that it was time to shift from need to want. I just didn't know how to do it. A year and a half ago, a little more than that, we found a way to do it, and we haven't looked back since. But others are still struggling. Duncan, people are buying collectibles in these tough times because they hold value and can be resold later as a result. My sales are up. Those damn bills, I can pay them, but they don't stop coming. So fact. People will justify, and we've talked about this many times before, they've justified, I can afford, now why is this fan turning on? Sorry, guys. This is
heck?
really important.
Really important.
There's people that will justify spending money on a collectible item that they want. Okay, that they want. We're talking today on Josh's Live, and he had mentioned that he went to a collector and he had a really cool piece. I believe it was an inmate had from a prison, not the Alcatraz one, but it's like that, where they found a head that was like sewn together with the hair to help them break out of the prison. And this thing's blinking at me. Why? So
That's
anyway,
probably perfect timing because my facial expression.
So I had to do this again. Now this didn't shut off. Why is this zooming in on me?
You need to do this.
Okay, stop. Okay, sorry guys. It is playing with this, but it's not doing that. So I got to turn that part off. I got to turn the zoom off. So it's a cool piece that he found, and he really felt like he had to have it, right? This head that was made. And he said it was freaky, it was kind of creepy, but he had to have it. So my question to him is, why didn't you buy it? Why didn't you buy it? Why did that merchant not get a sale on that item? And he had to pause. He paused. He didn't buy. He's going to go back and get it because he thought about it. People aren't as willing to spend on a whim, right? They're not, for lack of a better word, they're not impulse buying the way they used to. Okay, and that's one example of it. He's going to go back and get it, just like your buyer may come back and get your item eventually. But people are in that mode right now where they're not impulse buying the way that they were. And people will still buy. They'll still justify in their mind, like Josh is justifying why he needs to have that head. And I gave him crap. And that's how I asked him the question. You went, that head that you passed up. That's what it is.
He passed up on some head.
Yeah. Mike Gertis is close to 25 millionaires. That's a little more than 7% of the U.S. population. Yeah. And isn't that nice to be the top 7%? For the rest of us, we're trying to figure out how to get as close to it as we can. I think most of us has figured out we're not going to be millionaires by selling online, though. That path has been shut. Duncan says, thank God for those daily sales. Yes. Jovial says, anyone notice another seller is advertising in their own listing above your listing for the like item? Above your listing, not below, for the like item, showing in a blue vertical bar line format above your listing, shows buyer store name like them with a picture and convenient. Click here to take to the other buyer's store. No, I haven't noticed that. But it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me if they were doing that. Well, they have these campaigns now. Something I'm going to dive into and make a video on. They've changed, like, would you like AI to create a campaign for you? And maybe it's part of that whole new thing that they've launched. Keith says, eBay's AI is a child, and while it's learning, we're going to have to pick up its mistakes. I had this discussion for a week now with eBay. Yep. Yeah. Nick Picker got a negative feedback yesterday. Sold customer brand new and sealed water pick shower head, and they left me a product review, not a review on our transaction. I used help and contact, and it was removed almost immediately by just pointing it out that this feedback was against policy. Yeah. But you were very fortunate. For every time that someone complains, there's like 2 or 3 that I know that 2 years ago they would have removed. They're not removing them as much anymore. So you're very fortunate for someone to step in to do that for you. Big Dre says, I would like to keep going past 8,000, 90-day total, maybe in the fourth quarter. I'm feeling better, but still not strong enough to do my day job that requires lifting at times. Doctor appointment soon. Yeah, definitely. Got to take care of yourself.
Well, you're on the mend, and things can only get better from here.
Good morning, humans, says the disgruntled octopus. Nice to see you from Australia. Thank you for hanging out with us. Larry Todd says, someone in China opened a USPS account and had 74 orders of large priority boxes sent to a person in our town. They were stacked up at our post office this morning. Wow.
Someone in China opening.
Yeah. 74 orders of large priority boxes. A lot of those post offices are happy to get them, but if you have a smaller post office, they're not happy at all to have them. Duncan Jeannie has selective hearing. If she doesn't want to hear it, she pretends she never heard what you said.
That's right.
Is that what you're doing to me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I do.
Is that your story?
It's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Silver hair, silver up to $29. Ooh, very, very nice. Silver and gold. It is a place where people put their money when there's uncertainty in the market, historically. Mike Sellers says, Jenna, Ranger won't come into the basement. He's a big chicken.
Oh, no.
Oh, you got to put some treats down there. He'll go down there.
Yeah, bring him some treats.
Peddling profits. We don't ship international. Sold a cell phone address, Wilmington, Delaware, but buyer lived in Ukraine. Buyer had U.S. address, but was going to freight forwarder. eBay said block buyer, then cancel. Yep. You can usually tell a freight forwarder.
There's more.
Yeah. I'll read it, but you can usually tell a freight forwarder if behind their name there's a code, like a, like a 10-digit alphanumeric thing. eBay seen buyer was doing this to many sellers, leaving bad feedback to each seller, getting free merchandise. Happened twice. eBay stepped in immediately in both incidents. Had no problem contacting eBay, less than 30 seconds on phone with them. Yeah. So good on eBay for that. And they're making it easy. For those of you who don't know how to get a hold of eBay, all you have to do, you can go to like under Seller Hub on the PC and go to your drafts. So listings, drafts, and then immediately on the bottom right, there's a question mark. You click on that question mark and you can have them, it'll say, have us call you. And then you just click on that and then they'll call you. That's simple. Susan Phelps says, I ship USPS one-day shipping, but that only applies Monday to Friday. Mm-hmm. So I just got to buy on eBay and since USPS is closed, can't ship till Monday, take it inside and get a receipt. Mm-hmm. Now, what we do is we do same day, and we have 9 a.m. as the cutoff. Yeah. So at 9 a.m., boom, that goes out tomorrow. I think
if
sometimes
I'm still shipping at 11 o'clock in the morning, then it's going to go out. Just like this morning, we had a sale at 9:20, but that sale still went out because I was still in there and I was feeling generous.
You want to do a little karaoke?
Friday.
Do a little karaoke?
No.
Sing with me. To all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. Got that right. Remember that commercial?
No.
That's what Jovial's saying. Randall, 15 years ago, I learned the monkey see, monkey do principle. When other buyers start noticing you exploiting a niche, they auto-capitalize you with better products at lower prices. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does happen. But
Flipping from the trailer says, good evening, everyone.
Hello,
thanks for being here.
Hello.
Pitco says, over here in the UK, it's the norm that most sellers offer free shipping because we're a small island and shipping's so cheap. I mean, yeah, I would say it would be difficult to justify calculated shipping in the UK. Emil says, I still get drop shippers telling me not to send invoice. They must be cross-listing my items somewhere. They do. Archie told me about an item he was selling. I forgot exactly what it was, but it was one of his more expensive items, and he was just doing a Google search to look for comps, and he saw his same exact item with the same photos being offered at a higher price point somewhere else. So yes, there are people who are doing that, and then they'll send you a message, please don't include an invoice, because they want the buyer to still believe it came from them. Juan, the cancel option, issue with address, still available for me, didn't disappear.
Yeah.
Ferret fans, I just changed my one-day cutoff to 5 p.m., going back to making a trip to the post office every evening in addition to my noon carrier pickup. I don't want more cancellations. Right. And one thing I'd advise, though, or maybe offer some unsolicited advice, because most post offices close at 5, you might want to cut that off at 4, so that if you get an order at, let's say, 3:59, you have an hour to get it packed up, labeled, and then you're not rushing to the post office. Because, we're like at 4:50, we're like, okay, we got to get out the door and get this to the post office. Landshark, thanks for being here. Nice seeing you. Dark Horse says, make sure you got all your home security in place, and mum's the word from here on out. Yeah, we do. Pitco says, well, although we will miss you guys next Friday, give your regards to the FAE extended family on our behalf.
Absolutely.
We will. Darko says, congrats on my nephew's birthdays. Both of them. We're doing a party soon. I'll leave it at that.
Very nice. Well, happy birthday.
Nick says, not overreacting in terms of discussing and being informed, but in the sense that suddenly buyers are going to be canceling orders left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will. They will.
I feel like, is it something that they're even going to notice? Is it going to be like a big red flag that says cancel now? You know what I mean?
Is the sky falling? It depends on the person. It's all perspective. For us, it's not falling. We're going to pretty much be in the same.
I'm not even getting. It's not going to change the way we run our business every single day.
And they're no longer trying to go after Amazon shares. What is that telling you? I think that they realize that Amazon is a different animal altogether, and eBay will never be like Amazon. Remember, they're talking about having fulfillment centers at eBay, and like FBA, and that never came to fruition, right? What does that tell you? They kind of gave up on it. They are not Amazon. They need to focus on being what eBay has always been to people,
Yeah.
and I think that's enough. Pitco says, I'm aiming to ship out next day delivery in the UK. It's not so hard to do. You just got to build it into your pricing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, going back to this whole thing about Amazon versus eBay, John, who is now taking a nap, Grumpy John, he kept telling us at dinner, you got to find your good enough. And I think eBay needs to find their good enough, that it's good enough to be eBay of old and they're not Amazon, right? So it's good enough that they're not Amazon and they can still make it work like they have all these years. All Things Gaming says buyer will just make a new account if banned, but if they're buying it from the same IP, the same web address, they can be, is this now?
Now, that isn't timing. I just decided to check to see if they picked up, and he's right. He just walked up.
Interesting. Well, we're good then. No more. Okay. We left the packages. The only concern I have is that Fender guitar. We've insured it for $600 and something. I think it automatically puts the insurance in it. But he scans it all. We have a really good person that picks up. Beard says, if I need to cancel, your toilet seat is too moist. Yeah, well, ours are shrinking. We're selling them slowly but surely. Keith, according to my listings, it'll be standard delivery. I have done as experiment and found that buyers seem to love that. Okay. Like Tom says here, without buyers, we're nothing.
That is absolutely a fact.
I agree. So, we have this resentment, I think, as sellers against buyers. And I think it's the 5% of buyers who are bad buyers, who've done us wrong, who lie, who don't read. And I think we kind of, in the back of our head, kind of hold that against the other 95%. But we rely on that 95% to make our businesses work. So I don't mind when eBay puts their thumb on the scale for the buyer, right? Because that's exactly what it is. It's not a fair playing field. But we just have to understand that eBay is trying to create a positive buying experience, even though we may not feel that they are. It's what is going on. Keith says, my older brother got drunk one night and brought a tank as an old war tank and said he needs to stay off eBay when he was drunk.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Samantha says, John, I see this holiday season as a big issue. Oh, for cancellations.
Yeah.
I think you have your fishermen out there, the fishermen that are going to find the best deal. If you're not that seller that's giving them the best deal, they want to cancel. I think that's where some of it's happening as well.
I wouldn't let it bother you or worry you.
Happy Reality says sales are so slow on Mercari. They are.
They're non-existent.
Todd was able to see your skin pores a few minutes ago, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And 2 heads are better than 1 beard. Or what is it?
Okay, you're going right to the gutter, I have a feeling, and I don't know.
Was it 2 birds in the hand are better than Beard's bush? I don't know.
What?
It's Bushy Beard. Pitco says the cam was just trying to say like and subscribe.
Could it
Beard
have
says the
been-
ladies, Josh has resorted to buying head, Emma him for opportunities. This is where we get off the rails, guys.
This is it. We're done.
Tom says, I'm working on my second million. I gave up on my first. There you go.
So are we.
Beard says, I bet chicken. John skips my comments.
I bet
Yeah, not
Chicken
yet.
John skips.
Oh,
my
I bet
comment.
chicken, John.
Chicken John.
Okay. Henri Squaw says, well, there's no comma there, by the way. So Henri Squaw says, can I pay to keep other stores' items off my listings? I would pay for that.
I wish there was that option.
There's no way,
He
unfortunately.
said that was weird.
Southern Vermont Vintage. Some kids in our town did the same to another resident, placed a huge order for free supplies and boxes as a joke. That would be wrong.
That's just rude.
Like, especially if they're not a seller. It's like, what do I do now? I got all these eBay or these USPS boxes.
Yeah. Mike
Gertis says, speaking of impulse buying, tell that to a contractor that quoted $20,000 for a small 40 square foot guest bath remodel. Think I'll go with the 10,000 quote. Bumpkin quotes are 7 to 8. Everything is expensive. Yeah. Carol says eBay encourages quick shipping. We usually ship in 1 day.
Yeah.
I think that's big. I think if you're offering 3-day, it's a combination of everything, right? So this all kind of goes into your account health. So eBay wants to know how fast are you shipping this item. So they report to the buyer, you should expect it within this window of time. So if you're offering a 3-day handling and your competition's doing same day, they got a 3-day leg up on you, right? And so that is certainly put into the equation because they want the best buyer experience. You think eBay is lost on the fact that someone tomorrow morning can order something on Amazon and get it by 5 p.m.? They can't get that on eBay. eBay is placing a huge value on sellers who can actually get the item to the customer as fast as possible. I promise you that. Josh says, John and Jenna, I will water your garden while you are gone.
Well, guess what? We don't need you because we don't have a lawn.
Yeah, we have automated sprinkler system that hits the trees. Yeah. Ferret fan, I've got a USPS kiosk at my local post office so I can go at midnight, still get a scan as accepted. But from what I understand, you get the receipt, but it's not treated the same way as an actual accepted scan.
Yeah, because
so we
have that too, and we're just too hesitant to use it.
So I got the Great Reseller Life says, Josh, didn't you get in trouble for peeing on plants already? See that? Why are you watching him pee though? When a man has to pee, you give him his space.
I don't think that's what you think.
Well, S. Latina says, I had all my Mercari listings listed on Poshmark by another seller at way higher prices. Poshmark shut them down. It was bizarre to see my listings on Google and then find all of them on Poshmark.
Wow. How does that even happen?
People find ways to make money. Yaz says, we all have different options and store setups.
Yes,
we do.
This is a fact.
Texas Bandit says, John, knowing it'll be 10 minutes before you get here, per my Amazon comment, tells me that they do not follow through on their commitments. They just flow with the breeze. They do. They just say whatever sounds good. And eBay, if you're watching, you probably aren't, but if you made it this far, eBay, you guys know that you can do better. You know you can do better when it comes to things, following through with the things that you say. I would feel much better if in that thing I read at the beginning, you said, there's a chance we'll remove your negative feedback, right? But when you say we will remove your negative feedback and it doesn't happen, that's what I have a problem with. Pitco, buyers that use VPN can change to a new account without issue as if the VPN hides and masks the IP, they can. You're right. Dark Horse, I do judge buyers on a case-by-case basis as they are. I'm not projecting the sins of one onto another. I'll continue to make those judgments. My last buyer I gave him a favorite. Okay. I'm getting close to catching up. I'm so proud of myself.
Well, you should. It's 4:30.
Nick says, my Mercari has been killing it, actually beating my eBay sales a lot of days lately.
Really?
And I think a lot of it's what you're selling.
Yeah,
again,
that's true.
If you sell things that there's a lot of drop shippers on, then you're going to have a lot of competition for that item on eBay. You will not have that same kind of competition on Mercari. And there's some items we found that we were able to sell when we pushed over to Mercari that we're just getting crickets on eBay. So
Yeah.
really depends on what you have, but you can make sales on Mercari. You need gifts, goods, and books. Says, hey, John and Jenna, hope you're well tonight. I had to cancel a shipping label and then got a new one. I'm curious, what is your experience in getting reimbursed from canceled shipping labels? I like through eBay, they are good about getting you the money. It's kind of weird why they want to know. They make you select a reason why you're canceling. And it's like, well, you got to choose one of the reasons. It's not really always the reason why. But no matter what reason you choose, I've never not got my money back. The crazy cards. The hand in the bush is better than both hands in your bird on your bird.
Do not.
Okay.
It's not coming up here, which is weird.
That's a strange name, Willie, but we're going to move on. Larry Way Outs. Thanks for being here, Larry. Nice to see you. Hi, John and Jenna.
Hello, hello.
We had dinner with Larry a few months back, and it was a very, very good conversation. Chai Charon says 10 listings a day keeps eBay at bay and increases sales. I think some people say 5, right? But whatever that is, it's consistency that eBay wants.
Yeah, I think whatever works out in your favor as far as, what's good for you, I think that's what you should do.
Tom, I think people are using VPNs to hide from eBay, unfortunately. What can you do? Jovial says, man P keep varmints at bay. Just saying. You want, you need, says, nice. Thanks for your help. Always. No problem at all. Chai Charon says, I have received 3 refund checks from USPS on packages they lost and were never delivered. I'm amazed since I've never had success with it in the past. And not to mention, we had 3 as well last month, and they were literally like, I put in the claim. A few days later, they approved it, and a few days later, the check was in the mail. Like the turnaround from when I filed the claim and when I got the check was like a week. So good on USPS for doing that. Now they just need to improve the process where they damage your item, because that's a little bit shadier as far as I'm concerned, making your buyer take the item to the post office to have them look at it. The crazy card, juggler marking his territory.
Juggler is a woman, and her name is Rhonda, and I'm pretty sure she's not out there doing it. She's talking about men.
Jovial says, best quote of the day, the Cheech and Chong dynasty. Yeah, that's, I had told Josh, I'm like, I wouldn't know if that bowl, I think he said it was from the Ming dynasty or whatever. I wouldn't know if it was from the Cheech and Chong dynasty. I'd have no idea. So guys, with that said, we are a solid hour and 40 minutes in, and I did like I always do. I bring it home and get us under 2 hours most of the time. And I read most of the comments. Even this one from Duncan says, I keep getting casino spam emails. I keep thinking John's sending them. No, it's not me. But changes are always going to happen on this platform. And I think sometimes we look at the negative aspect first, because it's just an extra thing we have to deal with as sellers. But it's just we say the cost of doing business, but it's the experience of doing business on eBay. And we have to get used to it. We have to remember who eBay is and why they do it, and have to accept it. And don't let it allow you to feel bad about reselling, and just know that the next change is going to happen. And as long as we continually get offers from eBay and sales on eBay, then that's all it's about. But figuring this all out for yourself is yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have an excellent weekend. I'm going to have some, hopefully have some improvements on this live that I'm going to be working on this weekend. Tonight? Yes, Beard's going live tonight on
Don't forget to go
Bearded Picker Conspiracies channel. He's going live on, I think. So but have a great weekend. We will see you guys on Monday. Go get those sales, guys.
Have a great weekend.